Imagine this. It's July 19th, 2026. Over 80,000 fans are packed into the World Cup final. Billions are watching around the world. And standing just one win away from football immortality is the United States. Sounds ridiculous? For decades, that's exactly what most football fans would have said. Because unlike Brazil, unlike Germany, unlike Argentina, America isn't supposed to win the World Cup. In fact, for most of modern football history, the United States barely mattered. But something has changed. The sport is exploding across America. European clubs are buying American players. MLS is growing. The country is hosting the biggest World Cup in history. And for the first time ever, people are asking a serious question. Can the United States actually win the 2026 FIFA World Cup? The answer is more complicated than you think. Football is the world's game. But for most of the last century, America was focused on other sports. Baseball, basketball, American football, hockey. Soccer was an afterthought. While Brazil was producing Pelé, Argentina was producing Maradona, and Germany was building football dynasties, America was barely paying attention. The results reflected that. Since 1950, the United States has rarely been considered a true contender. There were moments of hope. The famous victory over England in 1950, the quarterfinal run in 2002, but overall, America remained an outsider. The gap wasn't just talent, it was culture. In countries like Argentina or Brazil, football is everywhere. Kids grow up dreaming about the World Cup. In America, most young athletes chose other sports. And that's a huge reason why the US never reached football's elite level. Something happened during the last decade. America stopped exporting basketball players and started exporting footballers. Suddenly, American players were appearing in Europe's biggest leagues. The United States wasn't producing one star, it was producing entire generations. Players started signing for clubs in England, Germany, Italy, Spain, the Netherlands. For the first time in history, American talent was being developed at the highest level. And that's a massive difference, because World Cups are usually won by players competing in elite environments every week. The modern US squad looks very different from teams of the past. This isn't a group of MLS veterans. This is a team filled with players who understand elite football. And that's why people are paying attention. Now here's where things get interesting. The 2026 World Cup is being hosted by America, Canada, and Mexico. But most matches will take place in the United States, and history suggests that hosting matters a lot. In fact, England won at home, France won at home, Germany won at home, Argentina won at home. Home crowds create energy, confidence, momentum. Referees can feel pressure, opponents feel uncomfortable. Everything becomes slightly easier. Now imagine American stadiums packed with 70,000 fans. Every game, every knockout match, every crucial moment. That's not a guarantee of success, but it's a huge advantage. And it might be the biggest opportunity the United States has ever had. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The United States has improved. A lot. But winning the World Cup is a completely different challenge. Because eventually you'll have to beat teams like Brazil, France, Argentina, England, Spain, Portugal, Germany. And that's where things get difficult. Elite nations have something America still lacks. Generational superstars. Players who can decide matches by themselves. Think about recent World Cup winners. Argentina had Messi. France had Mbappe. Brazil had Ronaldo. Spain had Iniesta. Germany had Cruz. The United States has talented players. But does it have someone who can dominate a World Cup? That's the question nobody can answer yet. But here's the part many people forget. The best team doesn't always win. World Cups are strange. They last only a few weeks. A red card changes everything. One injury changes everything. One penalty shootout changes everything. Look at recent surprises. Morocco reached the semi-finals. Croatia reached the final. South Korea reached the semi-finals. Nobody predicted those runs. Football is full of chaos, and tournaments amplify that chaos. The United States doesn't need to become Brazil. It doesn't need to become Argentina. It just needs to get hot at the right moment. And that's exactly what makes the World Cup dangerous. Let's imagine the perfect scenario. The US wins its group. avoids a tournament favorite early, builds confidence. The crowds get louder, the media attention grows. Suddenly, they're in the quarterfinals. Now pressure shifts, because nobody expected them to get this far. One upset later, they're in the semifinals. At that point, anything can happen. People forget this all the time. The difference between a quarterfinalist and a finalist is often incredibly small. One moment, one mistake, one save, one penalty, that's it. And that's why writing off the United States completely would be a mistake. Interestingly, football fans outside America are divided. Some still see the US as outsiders, a team that works hard but lacks elite quality. Others believe the United States is quietly becoming a sleeping giant, because the ingredients are there: money, infrastructure, population, youth participation, professional leagues, elite athletes. If America ever fully commits to football, the potential is terrifying, and many nations know it. So, can the United States actually win the 2026 World Cup? If you're asking whether they're favorites, no, they're not. Teams like Argentina, France, Brazil, England, and Spain still have stronger squads. But if you're asking whether it's possible, for the first time in modern history, the answer is yes. The United States has more talent than ever, more experience than ever, a home World Cup, massive support, and a realistic chance to make the deepest run in its history. Winning the entire tournament would still be one of the biggest shocks football has ever seen. But that's the thing about the World Cup. Nobody thought Morocco would reach the semi-finals. Nobody thought Croatia would reach the final. Nobody thought Germany would lose 7-1 at home. The impossible happens all the time, and that's why millions of Americans will be asking the same question in 2026. What if? What if this is the year everything changes? Before you go, think about this for a moment. Just a few decades ago, the idea of the United States winning a World Cup would have sounded completely impossible. Today, it's a question millions of people are actually asking. And over the next few years, we're going to find out whether America can become one of football's true superpowers, or whether the gap to the world's elite is still too big. That's what makes the road to the 2026 World Cup so fascinating. Every match, every rising star, every upset, every unbelievable moment. It's all part of a story that's still being written. If you love football stories, World Cup history, legendary players, shocking upsets, and the biggest moments in the sport, make sure to subscribe to the channel. In the coming months, we'll be covering everything you need to know before the biggest World Cup ever played. And trust me, some of the stories we're going to tell are even crazier than this one. Now I want to hear from you. How far do you think the United States can go in 2026? Group stage? Quarterfinals? The final? Or do you believe they can actually win the World Cup? Leave your prediction in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.